What is up, guys? Welcome back to another adventure. Now we are here at the highest point over in Beach Mountain, North Carolina. We are here for a media day for the Land of Oz. It is something new to me, so we're going to venture around this entire little theme park. Now it's not the entire show, so it will be open 3 weekends starting September 6th. They'll have all the characters here, all the shows going, but today we're just going to be venturing around the property, checking out everything. It is not in full completion yet, but we'll be checking out some things that you don't normally get to see, getting some behind the scenes. So if you guys are ready, let's go.
So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's landscapers, or I think choreographers are marking out choreography and stuff on the Yellow Brick Road, set dressers, all that kind of thing. Give us some clouds. There's a little bit. The Yellow Brick Road is half painted, so you're gonna see the road in a way that people don't normally get to see it. So you'll see what the road looks like before we paint it every year, and afterwards, and that kind of a thing. So I hope you have fun. I'm here to answer all the questions that you have. So feel free to throw anything at me as we're walking through the park. I'll give you a little bit of history as we go along. I'll explain what happens during Autumn at Oz as well. I think the first thing that people always ask me is why is there a Wizard of Oz theme park in North Carolina and not in Kansas? And I really don't have an explanation for that outside of the fact that there is a neighboring theme park called Tweedsy Railroad. It was built by the Robbins brothers in the late 50s. They were developing Beach Mountain in the 60s to incorporate skiing and tourism to this area. And they brought up a designer, and they're like, what can we turn the top of this mountain into during the summer months? And he said it looks like Oz because of the trees and the grass, and that's how it ended up being the Land of Oz. So it opened in 1970 with Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher cutting the opening day ribbon. And it was so successful that between June of that year and September, which was the normal season for the park, they had about a $450,000 people come here. The park was a Disneyland quality experience. It had all the bells and whistles, but as quickly as it was successful, it kind of went downhill. In December of 1975, somebody set fire to the Emerald City and burned it down. The company that owned the park went bankrupt. It was then purchased by one of the investors for 1976, who only knew how to run a ski resort and not a theme park. So the investment, or the money made from Oz, went back into other investments that they thought would be successful, like grass skiing and that kind of thing. So they really knew what they were talking about at the time. The park kind of ran itself into the ground until about 1980. It closed in 1980 for good. And then they were trying to figure out what to do with the park. It fell into the hands of the landowners who currently own it now. They were real estate developers. They didn't know what to do with the theme park that nobody wanted to go back to, so they kind of started to come up with a plan to develop a gated community up here around the Yellow Brick Road. Unfortunately, Emerald City was so destroyed from vandalism and the weather up here that they had to knock it down. But they started opening it back up once again in the late 80s for a one-day reunion for the original park employees, and that has grown into the Autumn at Oz Festival that we do every year in September, and it is now 3 weeks. Right now, you guys are at the entrance of the park. So back in the day, you would come up either shuttle bus or chairlift, which we still offer now during the event. This, as you can see, is the fountain that we're in the process of restoring for the event. It is the Fountain of Youth. Jack Pentes, who designed the park, wanted everybody that came through to kind of drop their inhibitions and revert back to their childhood and just have fun along the Yellow Brick Road. So that's what we're going to do today. So if you want, we could walk through. There's a great photo opportunity up here with the Land of Oz sign, and I will continue talking as we go up and out and go through the Land of Oz.
So this right here that he was just speaking about, this was the original entrance as the fountain they are trying to restore. And then we're going to be heading our way up into the park here. Got a little photo opportunity. Then we're going to be making our way up and left here. So we're going to get an opportunity to check out the Yellow Brick Road in a way that nobody else does. It's not fully painted yet, so we're going to get to see what it looks like in between the seasons before they get it refurbished. Yeah, not really sure what's in store for this, but we're going to head through the entire park and show you off everything. All right, now from the little sign there, little photo op, we're gonna head up here. It looks like a pavilion kind of lookout thing. So we're gonna come out here and check out the look.
For those Wiley. Thank you. There's like you just messaged me the other day. Yeah. Can you feel it? Feel it?
Speed up of sea level. So right now, you are currently in the Judy Garland Memorial Overlook. So they started construction on the park in the spring of 1969. They had every intention of Judy Garland cutting the opening day ribbon. Unfortunately, she passed away in June of 1969, so she never got to see it. They did have Ray Bolger play the Scarecrow come, and he broke ground on the memorial. And when the park was open, they had a bronze bust of Judy as Dorothy in the center of it, but it was stolen the night of the fire. So we have not recovered it since. The other things that were stolen the night of the fire, they had a museum with costumes from the film, including one of her Dorothy dresses. There were 5 dresses made for the film. They had one of them that has not been recovered. And so currently we have been filming a documentary with a production company over the past year and a half in search of the person who set the fire and stole the dress. So keep an eye out for that.
Mystery.
Yeah.
All right, so the views up here are absolutely incredible. You can see forever out there.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's what I saw. About the same.
Yeah, he hunts down finds a pair of slippers, one of the dresses, and something else.
Okay, yeah, because even with us, like, working with the under construction, so during the event, this is the hub of the park. So we have Professor Marvel doing fortunes. We'll have dancing farmhands up by the barn. Right now, they're working on a project that's going to be new for this year for the event. Dorothy comes out. She'll dance with the farmhands, and then she'll sing over the rainbow. We have a gift shop that we pop up here, as well as food vendors as well. So at any given time you walk in, you're walking into the middle of Kansas and the action happening all around you. So that's the whole point of the event. It's an immersive theatrical experience that throws you into the middle of the movie, which is really great. When the park was opened, the barn itself was actually a petting zoo, and then Dorothy would meet you on the porch and walk you through, but that's all that happened here. So we tried to add a little bit more pizzazz. I don't know. We just wanted to do more of a show in here. And the house itself is actually, it's not a replica of the house from the movie. It's actually the American Gothic house. And the American Gothic is the father and his daughter with the picture.
So if you guys couldn't hear, he was talking about this house here is not a replica of Dorothy's house, but it is from the American Gothic painting. It's one with the old man, old lady with the pitchfork. If you know what that is what this is going to replicate.
If you guys want, you can jump up and take photos of Dorothy. Photos or videos. See photos of L. Frank Baum as Dorothy's family portrait. He's the one who wrote The Wizard of Oz. There are hidden Totos and hidden bluebirds throughout the house. L. Frank Baum wrote a ton of books under a different pseudonym. Those books are on Dorothy's shelf in her bedroom. During the event, Uncle Henry actually welcomes you into the house, and Aunt Em is like cooking in the kitchen, and she will usher you into the cellar. So guys, come in, take a look. We took down the chains and everything, so you guys could walk in and just don't touch anything.
Yeah.
So now we are heading into Dorothy's house here. We get to explore the rooms. So there's a lot of little hidden Easter eggs. We're gonna kind of look around, see what we can find.
She's got some fun. She's got a bowl. Yeah, so I have a lot of inspired. It's just the first one was something. That's called Dorothy's Kiss. And so that's another fun. And then inside Dorothy's house. Here's your bedroom. Got some visitors. Well, my business.
Yeah, we were keep moving around this way. Some doors are shut.
It did. But when you did me and Dorothy, it's like all of the ground. Okay. Is it?
Somewhere downstairs here. I don't think we go there.
Yeah, this is the fun part of the tour.
And right here there is another little Toto in the corner of the living room.
The storm cellar.
This is the kitchen. Then we're about to head down into the storm cellar. I thought this was off limits.
I love that reaction.
Whoa, okay.
So, not what I was expecting.
Recently redone in 2022? Yes.
Black paints. It looks cool on camera, but it looks even better now.
They said that all this is originally hand painted.
Like when I was reaching out to people, a few of them had been there. Way back when. You still have to.
Now it looks like we're heading down some more stairs here. This is a really cool section of this little theme park here. A lot of fluorescent paint. A lot of cool designs.
Some of this area is to represent the tornado, and you fly into the air and.
And then in the next section, I guess this is the house after it landed from the tornado. It's got a slant to it.
It's a little hard to pick up on the camera just because
But it is a little difficult to walk in.
there's a really good slant to it.
Yeah, so a little bit hard to tell on camera here, but if you look at the little lines on the floor, it shows the way that it's sloped down. And it makes it interesting to walk on, that's for sure. And it looks like we're going to continue through the broken house here. Alright, so we're going to continue on. Very trippy little hallway. So, see all the wallpaper destroyed. Got the bedroom here.
Living room that we walked.
Definitely say watch your step though when you're coming through this little section. It's got some slope to it.
There it is. Wow.
Yes, 500.
Oh, so this is where that leads into the kitchen and then it looks like it dumps out into a garden.
So normally we have a witch during the event that stands right here and yells at you.
Oh, cool.
So this is actually Munchkinland that we've landed in. It looks like we're going to be heading into the beginning of the Yellow Brick Road as well here.
I know, I struggled. Okay.
Designed it from a child's point of view, so he did it on his, walked on his knees a lot of the time. But he only destroyed one large tree while during construction of the park. So it made it seem like Oz actually was here all along and not the other way around. And you'll see along the way, like some of the gazebos, they have holes in the roofing and everything, and it's because he literally built a gazebo around a tree. So you will feel like Oz has been here for hundreds of years as you walk through. It's actually really pretty. But we're gonna walk down. We'll go towards the Scarecrow. Or where the Scarecrow
And then this year we're like, no.
Okay. Thank you.
and lip sync to a song and do a dance, and you go on to the next one. So now during the event, obviously the houses are no longer there, but we started to build out these stage areas, and Dorothy will come along the Yellow Brick Road and interrupt the photo opportunities that we have with the characters, and she'll pull them onto the Yellow Brick Road, and they do the song and the dance on the Yellow Brick Road. So it's actually really cool. Jack always felt, like I said earlier, that the park was always here. And if you guys stand kind of over on the fence where you two are and look up at the silhouette of the mountain up here, it looks like the witch's face. So you'll be able to see the eyes, the nose, and the chin. The original choreographer's son saw it during a walkthrough during construction. And Jack said that it was meant to be, and it's the witch overlooking the house after it landed on her sister. So there are a couple little nods like that along the road that I'll point out as well. But do you guys have any questions so far? Nope. No? Alright.
So,
Right? I was like, is that it? I feel like that's.
let's say he said it looks like a witch, but it looks like a giant rock to me.
Really? See, it looks like a nose and like, no, that
I
looks
can
like her.
kinda-
You
I
see
can kinda
it?
see
I
it.
feel like maybe that's, yeah.
Maybe I just need to know what the witch looks like, and then watching the movie probably helps.
You guys watch it from the Yellow Brick Road. Back in the 70s, it was actually placed up there. So I'm going to bring you guys up to a spot that the general public doesn't get to see. That's been closed off for a while. So if you want to come up, we can see where the lion is. Do you want to see where the lion lived, like way back in the day? Yeah.
This area here, as you're walking through, the lion jumps out and they do their scene from the movie. You can tell as walking through here that this is it. Not a part of the park they use a whole lot anymore. Looks very similar.
You can see it ends up here on this little walkway, and there's a cave up here.
So, like,
And this is where he used to live back in the day before they changed the location.
Jack found this cave up here, which came in the correct order for the lion. So they basically just built a rock wall in front of a cave. So the actors would have to stay back in there, but all they had was a lounge chair. And they would complain about the snakes and the bugs and all the things. So they said after a while they would actually just kind of stay up in that little corner until the groups would walk through. Back in the day, there was a stage that went across this rock wall here, and there was a full gazebo and everything. But like I said, this is closed off to the public now, so not many people get to see it. But I like to kind of throw it at you guys for a little special treat. Any questions up to this point? I mean, it's a cave.
The lipstick. I like the makeup story.
So during 2020, Miles and I, because the park was closed, we were going through and we did a huge cleanup of the park, and we were finding a bunch of garbage from the 70s, which was nuts. So we were finding a bunch of beer bottles back behind where the Scarecrow and the Tin Man houses were. And I was talking to one of the original actors, and I was like, "Why are all these bottles back here?" And he's like, "Oh, we would just drink a beer in between shows and throw them off the back of the house." So I was like, "Great, I'm cleaning up your garbage 50 years later." That's awesome. And then Miles went into the cave, and he actually found one of the makeup sticks from the lion, and it was in mint condition, like it had never been touched. And I had one of the performers confirm that it was indeed one of the makeup sticks from the 70s.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty cool. And as we're cleaning up the park, we'll go over an area 2 or 3 times, and we're still finding stuff that just appears out of nowhere, which has been fun. It's been like costume pieces, or they had these huge styrofoam mushrooms throughout the whole park, and we keep finding pieces of those. So you might see something along the way too, so just point it out if you do. And then we can go back down.
My family.
So this is the cave that he was talking about that they would stay in. They basically just built this little rock wall in front of the cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, my family is too, and I'm. Isn't that cute? I don't want to be like that.
We're gonna keep moseying our way down the Yellow Brick Road here. Those mushroom pieces that he was mentioning earlier. You can see the little stem of it.
September 6th.
So we're now getting to the part of the road where it has not been updated with the paint. You can see it gets some bright, and it starts to go just a little bit dingy right here. So this is the in-between seasons, and then you can see right here on the left side of it, this right here painted, this right here not painted. I'm assuming that this will be a water feature. Got an empty pond right here. Speaking of the paint, you can see the yellow paint buckets right here. And then we are not going down the yellow brick road from here. We're going down the left side to, I see a witch sign, so who knows. So down here will be the area where you will get the interaction with the Wicked Witch. So you can see there's a little castle here on top of the cave.
So nice to meet you. And please come in.
The Yellow Brick Road. The witch started off green, as in the movie in the first couple years. When new management came in, for some reason they changed her to like a pinkish purple color. And I asked the cast member why, and they just said they ran out of green makeup. So she ended up being purple through the rest of the duration of the park's operation. Now during the event, the witch does a show here. It's an audience participation show with the flying monkeys and the winky guards and everything. So she doesn't have a song, but there are a couple nods to Wicked in the script because we can't ignore Wicked. Kind of taking everything over. I'm trying to think what else in this area. I mean, the best thing. So the path that you guys just walked down when Miles and I were doing the cleanup in 2020, I was like, let's I just kind of wanted to figure out if we could build a new path in that area because we were trying to figure out the audience flow for the shows. And we had known that there was a path back there, and it actually went behind the castle and came around because there was another building there with bathrooms back when the park was open. And so we were weed eating, and I was working at the pond. And then all of a sudden I hear Miles like, "Sean, get over here!" And he went to go rake everything, and he hit asphalt. And so we actually dug up this path that hadn't been exposed since 1976. Which sounds really, really crazy, to be honest, but for us it was cool. We're like, bro, like getting emotional. And we're like, it's an old asphalt path, like what is this? But it was just cool to dig it up and be able to utilize it afterwards. After so long, yeah, it was really cool. And a lot of the stuff, like I said, it just kind of pops up and makes itself known. Sorry.
If you have kids. But it's the same shit every year. They don't add or...
Go to the top. It was 24 steel balloons on a vertical chairlift. This is one of the original balloons. Sorry, I'm out of breath. This is called Heart Attack Hill. So we actually, there's only one surviving balloon. This is it. We restored it back in 2022. And during 2020, during the park cleanup that I keep talking about that we did, we actually found the original balloon covers in the attic of Dorothy's Crooked House. So every year we put a new balloon cover up to switch it up a little bit. During the event, we have about 5,000 poppies that Sarah, who you saw over in Munchkinland, she installs one by one. So this whole area from here all the way up to the Emerald City is covered with poppies. It's really pretty, so you have to come back just for the poppy field. And back in the day, so Dorothy and the Emerald City show, the friends would come after melting the witch. The wizard would give them what they wanted. Dorothy would click her heels after singing Over the Rainbow. She sang it in the Emerald City, not in Kansas. And when she clicked her heels, she disappeared in a puff of smoke. And then they had a double Dorothy in the balloon that would fly over the audience and wave because she was going back home to Kansas. And when you talk to the Dorothys from the 70s, they hated this part of the whole show because the balloon ride broke down all the time. And the only way to get people off the balloon ride was for the fire department to come up with a ladder to each balloon. And because Dorothy was an employee, she was the last one off the balloon ride. So there were times that she would be stuck up there for 5 or 6 hours. And the costumes back in the day do not look like the costumes from the film. They were their own thing. And she had this little clogger skirt on. So if she got stuck over the Yellow Brick Road, she said she would just have to stand there for hours like this. And people weren't looking up her skirt the whole time. Cover your ears, you're too young to do this. But with that, we will go up to the Emerald City Gate. And I'll kind of explain how Emerald City was when it was there. And we'll just continue onward. Does anybody have any questions up to this point? Good? Okay, great.
So if you guys didn't hear what he was saying, this right here was a balloon ride. They had 24 steel balloons. This is the only one that they found still remaining. So they found some of the balloon covers in the attic of Dorothy's house. So every year they put on a new one. So if that is the size of the bucket that you're in, that would be pretty miserable to be stuck in that for 5 to 6 hours. Doesn't look like there's a place to sit in it. And then we're going to keep moving our way up the Yellow Brick Road here. A lot of these little tree fellers.
So the park opened in 1970. Went bankrupt in 19... It was completely out of business by the early 80s. They said at one point somebody came up here and burned down the Emerald City. Stole a bunch of props. There was a museum here on property that had a bunch of Wizard of Oz props, and they all were stolen, and they've been recovered. And I am out of breath, people.
And then that bit of commentary was brought to you by Johnny Amusement. Thank you. Phew. So he called this Heart Attack Hill, and he wasn't kidding. This is just a straight little walk up, but this goes up to where the Emerald City was. Again, it got burnt down, so there's nothing left, but there are the gates still sitting up here, and that is the next little section that we're going to be checking out.
During the event, we have like these temporary buildings that go up in tents, and we have a food courtyard, we have a theater, like literally a theater with a stage show. So we reintroduced the finale show for the first time in 2018. That's still going strong. We have a gift shop with official merchandise that you can only buy here. We have food vendors, and there's a bunch of photo ops in there as well. So this whole area becomes the Emerald City. We have the gatekeeper at the gate, the bell out of order guy, who lets you into Oz. It's a lot of fun. And then you guys are gonna get a treat. So, like I said earlier, one of the highest points on the East Coast is right here. And I know you thought it was at the Judy Garland overlook, but it's actually up at the very tip top of the mountain. So Liv is actually going to bring you guys all the way up. You're going to get a 360 view, and you can see 5 states from the top. So it's really gorgeous, and it's totally worth the walk. It's 107 steps, so Godspeed.
So if you guys didn't hear, right down here, this is where they actually recreate the Emerald City every year. It's a temporary structure they do since the original one was burnt down. And they'll have all sorts of photo opportunities. They recreated the finale show back in 2018, and they've been doing it ever since. So now we are heading our way up to the top of the hill here. This is actually going to be the highest point in this area. I think he said the highest point on the East Coast, if I'm not mistaken. But we should be able to see up to 5 different states away. The overlook that we were at on before, the Judy Garland overlook, is not the highest point. We're actually going to get just a little bit higher right up here. Like I said, if you're going up here, though, it is 107 steps. So be prepared to get your walking legs on. It's not straight steps, you got a little in between areas, so yeah, it is not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. Alright, still moving. So we're off the gravel onto just normal walkway now. I can see the top of it up here actually. Yeah, he said 107 stairs, but I'm thinking he might have left out a 0. Might be 1,070. I don't know whose idea it was to put 100 plus stairs after something you called Heart Attack Hill, but they did it, and we're about to get some amazing views because of it, but holy moly. Phew. And that instantly became worth it. Look at that.
Tennessee,
So here we are up the top.
North and South Carolina, West Virginia,
Give you guys a full overview. You're fine. So from up here you do get to view 5 different states. But you can see forever from up here.
I could be wrong, but I believe that giant building that's right there, right at the top of the ridge line, I believe that is Sugar Mountain, which is another ski resort. Wow.
So what we thought was going to end up being kind of a odd experience up here, being at the top of a mountain, it apparently did very well in the first opening years with over 450,000 visitors. It has been reopened. It doesn't open very long throughout the year, but they do open each year. But this right here is well worth the entire trip. This is some amazing views. Alright, so now making our way back down the 1,000-something stairs here. We have the last ones up here at the very tip top. Not sure what's on the agenda after this, but all I know is that for somebody that has not really watched The Wizard of Oz, this was a really cool experience. So whether you've seen the movie or not, you're not going to be disappointed by it. That is for sure. A lot of cool experiences, cool visuals, and just the atmosphere itself was really neat. So we're going to make our way back down through the storm cellar here. One of the coolest parts of this little house. So again, we're giving one last little look here inside of the house. I remember that if you ever come in, there are a lot of little Easter eggs, little hidden Totos, the different books here being different titles that the original author had wrote.
Just really pay attention to what they're putting in there, making it look as authentic as possible.
Got a couple of bit of storage rooms, but then you either circle around to the storm cellar. Got the kitchen here. There's just a full loop. And this is the before scene, and then whenever you go through the fluorescent room, that's going through the tornado, and then you get to see the house all topsy and turvy. But I think that is about it. All right, guys, I think that is about wrapping it up here on the media event day here at Land of Oz. It's a really cool opportunity. Got to see some things that the general public wouldn't get to see. Got to check out all the little details, and it would be really cool to come back and see this place already fully done up and all the shows going. But if you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.